Hi there, I'm Ciara Whelan and you're welcome once again to Ireland County by County, the programme which explores the sights and sounds, the places to visit, the culture and the food that our country has to offer. This time we're back on the wild Atlantic Way, touring a county whose natural beauty will take your breath away, from its unique rocky wilderness to its jaw-dropping cliffs. Known as a Banner County, here you'll find some of the best Irish music and food and some of the proudest people. In the next 30 minutes, I'll be experiencing one of our most plush and palatial castle hotels, spending time in Ireland's prettiest and tidy county town, checking out the surf along one of the world's most jaw-dropping coastlines, tasting some of the best food in the land in the most unusual of lands, exploring Ireland's hidden heartlands along the Lough Derg Blueway in the east of the county and visiting the immense and powerful cliffs of Moher in the west. Welcome to County Clare. I'm starting my journey in the Burren, a part of Clare made famous for its karststone geology and stunning moon-like scenery. From this unique ecosystem, local food producers have carved out a special place for themselves on the Irish culinary map. People will often describe the Burren as being similar to the moon, but actually the landscape here with its limestone pavements that are over 330 million years old is actually known as the Fertile Rock, which is really fitting because this area of Clare alone is home to some of the most wonderful artisan food producers. With far too many to count, it's no surprise that the Burren Smokehouse is one of the best artisan producers in the country. Its food was even chosen to feed the Queen of England when she visited in 2014. Started in 1989, Birgitta and Peter Curtin have steadily grown their business into one of the best fish smokehouses in Ireland. With their Burren Slow Food Festival, they've become leading figures in the food scene both home and abroad. I'm here to chat with Birgitta to find out more. Birgitta, it was love that first brought you to County Clare, and it was probably your love of food and local produce that kept you here. Tell me all about your story.
I arrived here from the east coast of Sweden, where I grew up on a self-sufficient farm. Met my husband Peter, and both of us really loved the Burren and nature and also food.
Smoking was hugely traditional in Sweden, so you brought that here.
We married it with the Irish tradition of traditional cold smoked salmon, but also then brought it along with the Swedish tradition of hot smoked salmon. So together we merged the Scandi with the Celtic.
Irish salmon, what makes it so special?
Everything that's produced on the west coast of Ireland is organically certified. Fish swim around in 99% water and 1% fish. They're also fed fish from sustainable source and marine sourced oil, so they're extremely high in omega-3 and 6 oils. So it's like so sustainably produced and it's world class. It's an amazing product.
What's involved in the actual smoking process?
Every smokehouse have their own recipes, how they smoke the salmon, between temperatures, but also what wood they use for the flavor of the salmon. So we use oak smoke. Ireland used to be full of oak forestry, and oak is something very, very traditional for Ireland, and we like the sweetness. We really feel that the oak flavour just brings up the flavours of the salmon, doesn't overpower it.
Another part of the experience is Taste the Atlantic.
Taste the Atlantic is a concept that is all along the west coast of Ireland, and it's all about the seafood producers around the wide Atlantic Way. So we are one of them, and you can learn in the centre of the Taste the Atlantic about where the salmon come from, whether it's wild, how it's caught, the bit of history.
You brought all the local chefs together to make a cookbook.
We created a cookbook called the Burren Dinners. When you buy your produce or when you go home and you've brought produce with you to wherever you travel, you can have then the recipes on how to cook amazing foods with the different produce, whether it's oysters, or it's beef and lamb, where it's local seaweed, or smoked salmon perhaps.
If you're travelling to Ireland from the United States, chances are your first stop will be here at Shannon Airport, the original gateway to Europe for over 85 years. I'm talking to Niall Maloney, the Airport Operations Director, to hear all about the fascinating place Shannon Airport holds in aviation history. Niall, tell me about the history of the airport.
Mid-1930s, the Irish government were looking for a fixed land base for fixed-wing aircraft to fly into. It commissioned the great aviator Charles Lindbergh to come to Ireland to look at a number of sites. And they looked at a place like Athlone, Sligo, and they looked across the river from Foynes to a place called Rhinanna. By 1939, the first fixed-wing aircraft landed here, and by 1944, we were serving all transatlantic traffic going to and from the States. So we were the last airport leaving Europe and the first airport going into Europe.
What else makes the airport unique?
You come to the heartland of Ireland. You come to the wild Atlantic way. Pick up your bags, go out the door, get a car, and you're going to see the most historic, most beautiful, picturesque countryside that you could ever see anywhere around the world. It was one of its key fames as an airport. In 1947, we became the first duty-free shop in the world. The only fear is we didn't patent the idea because that really has been copied worldwide. We were on standby for every space shuttle flight that when that aircraft was leaving from Cape Canaveral, within its first 7 minutes of flight, we were its alternate. So that's the claim to fame. And then again, we've also been servicing the US military traffic here since the 1940s. And it's something that we're proud to do.
Tell me about some of the most important passengers you've had.
My father worked here before me, and he has a lovely autograph book, you know, with Johnny Weissmuller was his hero, Tarzan for those who might know. But then you go, you know, to the Bing Crosbys, the Bob Hopes, the Frank Sinatras, they've all been through here.
And you've met a good few presidents.
George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., Bill Clinton, President Obama, and the current president, Joe Biden, has probably been through here 20 or 30 times during his term as vice president. I must have met at least 6 or 7 secretaries of state over the years. And the one thing they did like is the Irish coffee.
Where does the significance of the Irish coffee come from here?
Going back to the 1930s, the flying boat era, if you've been on a plane for 5 or 6 hours with minimal level of heat on board the plane, you may have had your fur coat or a heavy coat on you, you wanted to be warmed up. And there's a chef called Joe Sheridan, who was based in Foynes initially, came up with this idea, the concept of coffee keeps you warm, drop a whiskey in it will keep you a bit warmer, and you know what, a bit of cream on top actually will sweeten you up altogether. And basically that was the start of the Irish coffee history, not alone just in the west of Ireland here, but throughout the world.
We have a little taste. Right, Barry, no pressure. That is perfect. Right on the doorstep of Shannon Airport, you'll find Bunratty Castle and Folk Park, which allows visitors to step back in time to experience history as it was. Just up the road from Bunratty Castle, you'll find Dromoland Castle, which is the perfect place to get over any jet lag. A world-renowned Michelin and 5-star rated hotel, Dromoland Castle Hotel provides luxury and comfort in a way no place else can offer. Dromoland Castle Hotel has been the envy of hotels everywhere since it was first established in 1962. And with its lists of guests ranging from the King of Spain to Johnny Cash to President Bush Jr., where else would you want to stay? If you're coming to County Clare for a special occasion or you just want to really treat yourself, you won't find a more luxurious place than this, Dromoland Castle Hotel. This place is really special. So special, in fact, Hotel Director Mark Nolan came here for 6 months, but he's still here over 30 years later. Let's chat to him to find out more about this little gem. Mark, I can't imagine anyone could visit Dromoland Castle and not fall completely in love with the place. Tell me about the history of the castle.
It was the stronghold of the O'Brien family. In actual fact, Lord Lahinch Quinn still live on the estate in Thomond House. There's direct descendancy to the O'Briens, the Battle of Clontarf, so steeped in history. And then more latterly, Bernard McDonough, an American industrialist, bought it over just over 50 years ago, and then it's changed hands just once since. Proven to be very popular, obviously with our great North American friends. A lot of O'Briens come to follow their ancestry because apparently there's 40,000 O'Briens in New York alone. Something we've introduced is a very nice historic tour of the estate that we do with Jane O'Brien, who's also a descendant of the O'Brien family.
What an amazing place to come home to. Perfect spot actually to either come from the airport or go to.
I suppose our proximity to the airport means that people think it's a good first night stay or a good last night stay before they go back to North America. And the funny thing is that people come and stay with us and say, gosh, we're so sorry we didn't stay so much longer.
And what about the hotel itself?
We've 97 bedrooms and all of them are nearly unique. I mean, there are a few rooms that are similar, but remember it was a castle and it was a home to the O'Briens. One of the things I suppose we're pretty well known for is our food. We like to do a nice blend of Irish and European cuisine. And we've even got on the estate Shanagan's, which is a gastropub, which is very much focused on artisan foods.
And what about the estate?
There's 18-hole championship golf course, and it's one of those kind of underestimated golf course because I suppose primarily North Americans like to play links golf course, but parkland golf course in Ireland is really becoming so much more popular. We've also redeveloped a whole new kind of walking trails with areas for picnics, paddle boarding, and we've done quite a bit with our formal gardens. We've got our lake fully stocked so you can catch fish. The falconry school with 20 birds of prey and just lots of things to do. So when you come here, there's so many options you won't leave.
Leaving the decadent Dromoland behind, I'm off next to the wonderful and lively county town of Ennis. Sitting along the River Fergus, this county town is something to behold. Ennis is commonly regarded as one of Ireland's prettiest towns, and all it takes is one look around to see why. From the second you step onto the street here in Ennis, you can't help but smile. The atmosphere with its incredible restaurants and great music is infectious. And it's the boutique shopping capital of Ireland. I'm meeting Ennis native and Mayor of Clare, Mary Howard, to learn more about this special town. Mary, how many women have worn the chain before you?
I'm the fourth, and this chain has been in operation since 1899, so a lot of men. So yeah, I'm very, very proud to be the fourth woman to wear this chain of office.
And a proud Ennis woman, of course.
Well, I was born only a mile from where we're standing here, grew up in the town. I describe it as a medieval town with the 21st century heart. We've lots of history here, but we also have everything else. We have music all the time, part of our DNA, traditional music here and dancing. We also have great restaurants and bars. We're the boutique capital of Ireland and we have many independent retailers here that you're not going to see on every other high street.
It's kind of like how we used to shop.
Everybody knows everybody. It's a bit like Cheers. Everybody knows your name.
Tell me about the town.
You can see the old abbey here behind me, and that's 800 years old approximately, and it was one of the biggest monasteries in Ireland for training Franciscan monks, going way back, you know, when Ennis was just a tiny little island.
It's almost like a city break, but you're coming to a nice county town without the chaos.
Oh, it is. It's very calm. It's very easygoing. I think that's just part of the people, and music, as I said, is part of our DNA. So you're never more than a couple of footsteps away from a music session or trad music happening or dancing or singing or whatever.
And what's 365 music?
We have music 365 days of the year in different venues. It's not just one venue, it'll be in multiples of venues. And we've also got a trail of different pubs and places where there's music going on at all times.
And Mary, Ennis has a purple flag as well. What is that?
We have a purple flag here. We have it for about 10 years. And basically it means we have a very safe and vibrant nighttime economy. So our bars, our restaurants, cinema, all that's all open. It's family friendly and it's a nice place to come and to walk around and feel safe.
Okay, so I'm going shopping, then I'm going to go for some nice food, enjoy some incredible music and have a great night out. Ennis literally has everything.
We've everything that you could possibly want in a town in Ireland. We have great food, great places to eat, there's lots of fun going on, plenty of music, and of course we have amazing shops.
Mary, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. I'm off to shop. Just up the coast from Ennis is the home of surfing in Ireland, Lahinch. Famous as one of the original surfing hotspots on the island, even on a foggy day, people still dive into the cool Atlantic water to catch some waves. John, if I mention surfing to an American, they'll think about Hawaii, but if I say surfing to an Irish person, they'll automatically think about Lahinch. It all started here with you, really, didn't it?
I definitely was in the right place at the right time, and that's, a lot of things in life, but there was no full-time surf school here when I came. So I started that 20 years ago. It's been amazing to be able to make my living out of something that I love doing. And I love teaching surfing, I love surfing.
And John, 20 years ago, what did this place look like?
Ireland, you get good summers, you get bad summers, and there had obviously been a few bad summers. So it was all boarded up, and surfing has become such a big thing on the west coast of Ireland now.
It's just grown from strength to strength, really, hasn't it?
10, 20 years ago, a lot of people didn't think about Ireland and surfing, especially Irish people. The wetsuits have become so good now, so you can throw yourself into the Atlantic Ocean in the middle of winter and you can get some of the best waves in the world.
You started quite young as well.
I started surfing at the age of 10. I couldn't swim. There wasn't a lot of wetsuits in Ireland at the time, and I eventually got a wetsuit when I was 13. But it was just something that I loved. I just loved the balance. I loved the expression, the freedom of it, just getting into the ocean. And the ocean is a gift, it washes over you. You just feel amazing.
And what makes the coast here so unique for surfing?
We're on the west coast of Ireland, so it's rugged. The Atlantic Ocean has got some of the biggest surf in the world. So there's always a wave here. And in County Clare, there's a particular type of surf breaks, a particular type of rock, which gets us some of the best waves in the world.
And because the waves are so good, does that make it suitable for beginners?
Lahinch is brilliant for beginners, so it's a slower wave. It's probably a bit like the Waikiki, like just gentle waves for learning how to surf. And then out at the cliffs of Moher, there's the giant wave at the bottom of the 700-foot cliff.
Tell me about that one.
What's unique about it is it's a huge tubing wave. So surfers do travel from Australia just to catch this wave. And it is incredible because there's the backdrop, there's a 700-foot cliffs, and then there's this amazing wave at the bottom. I traveled all over the world. I surfed in Hawaii, Indonesia, Japan, everywhere. But this wave was the most incredible wave I ever saw in the world.
So you saw it first?
A friend of mine, Mickey Smith, saw the wave. He tried to get to it. It got dark, so a year later, he came back with a famous surfer called Rusty Long, and we all went down there and we surfed it together. And I got the privilege to name the wave Eileens, which is named after the headland Island of Sharrock.
What were you guys thinking?
I'm a bit older now, and yeah, I don't take as many risks as I used to back then, yeah.
And then when visitors come and they want to try surfing for themselves, what do they do?
It's a 2-hour lesson. You get your wetsuit, your board, your tuition, your instructor goes with you in the water. So 20 years ago, this wasn't happening in Ireland, and now there's 5 surf schools in Lahinch, and there's probably about 60 to 70 surf schools on the west coast of Ireland. So it is a whole unique industry that's new on the west coast of Ireland.
Not too far up the coast from Lahinch lies one of the most impressive views Ireland has to offer: the amazing cliffs of Moher. Regarded as one of the most remarkable natural sights in the world, the cliffs of Moher are a must-see for any visitor to Ireland. They run for close to 9 miles along the coast and stand over 700 feet at its highest. With such astounding views, it is no wonder the cliffs of Moher are protected by UNESCO, as well as being one of Ireland's most visited attractions. Even though I visited the cliffs numerous times since childhood, today it is an absolute privilege to be here for a world first. The Kilfenora Ceilidh Band from the village of Kilfenora, which is just up the road, are here for the very first time to match their beautiful music with the incredible views.
Tonight, dear friends, I'll sing a song, a toasting glass I'll raise to a place that means the world to me, on the wild Atlantic way, a land where blessed feet once tread, where kings and princes roamed, a place of beauty and renown. Clare, my heart, my home. So raise your voices, one and all, sing out, let it be known. The banners flying high tonight in Clare, my heart, my home. The banners flying high tonight in Clare, my heart, my home.
Or that was just so moving, wasn't it? It must be amazing to have had the Ceilidh band here.
Most of the band live locally, so we know them well. It was the first time they'd actually ever played at the Cliffs of Moher, so it was an absolute honour to have them here.
What do visitors like most when they come?
People come in for a variety of reasons, the views obviously, but people also connect very spiritually with the cliffs. It's so wild, romantic, unadorned. It's life at its most natural, I suppose, but they really have a deep connection when they do get here.
But they're also incredibly important as a natural habitat. Tell me about the wildlife that you have here.
So we have 20 different species of seabirds on site. And during breeding season, which is happening at the moment, we have 30,000 breeding pairs. So we have guillemots, we have peregrine falcons. The very popular one is the Atlantic puffin, which numbers are actually increasing here, where they're dwindling in other habitats.
And tell me about the visitor centre.
The visitor centre was built in 2007. It's built into the hillside so as to minimise any impact on the natural environment we have here. Inside the visitor centre we have a very detailed exhibition telling the story of the cliffs through geology, through human, through wildlife. We also have a three-dimensional film on the wildlife there on the cliffs, and we have some cafes in there and a shop.
Tell me about the Cliffs of Moher.
There are three main viewing platforms on the cliffs. There's the north platform where O'Brien's Tower is. O'Brien's Tower is at the highest point at 702 feet. There's the main viewing platform which takes in a more panoramic view of the cliffs, and there's a south platform from which actually is the best vantage point for viewing seabirds. The whole site is fully accessible for buggies and for wheelchairs, etc. We also have a customer buggy called the Lifts of Moher to take people who may have mobility issues up to the viewing points, and this has been hugely successful and a big hit all round.
Other amazing sights not to miss on your visit to County Clare include the iconic Loop Head Lighthouse and Peninsula in the west of the county, and Holy Island or Ennis in the east. My final stop around the astonishing County Clare takes me into Ireland's hidden heartlands in the east of the county, along the majestic River Shannon. The Shannon is the largest waterway on the island, and Lough Derg, the river's largest lake, is snuggled against much of Clare's eastern border. The picturesque town of Killaloe is connected by canal to the Lough Derg Blueway, a beautiful wilderness consisting of 32,000 acres of clear water, surrounded by stunning and dramatic countryside. So, Kelly, we're in lovely Killaloe, and you're going to take me on my next adventure, which is the name of your company.
That's correct, yes. We offer kayak tours through the waterways of Killaloe. And I suppose in Killaloe, when you look at Killaloe, we've got amazing history here. So going right back to the 8th century, we've the record of the first bridge here, wooden bridge here in Killaloe, right up to when Killaloe was the capital of Ireland in 1014, when Brian Boru was king. And then we can go right up through when the canals came, for all the freight moved through the canals.
Tell me about Lough Derg. It's an amazing place, isn't it?
Yeah, Lough Derg, well, it's the reason I'm here, is I just love the water, and it's a huge mass of water. It's about 38 kilometres long, and in its widest point, it's about 20 kilometres at its widest point.
Okay, and is it just kayaking that people are doing?
No, it's I'm heavily involved in other water sports, so I'd be involved in sailing. Also then there's very good water skiing, fishing, and what's really growing very fast now is sort of adventure swimming and outdoor swimming, triathlon swimming.
And that's the thing, when people think of County Clare they think of the sea, but actually here you have the canal, you have the River Shannon, and you have Lough Derg. You do kayaking at night as well?
Yes, we do the full moon kayak, so that happens basically 3 nights every month. obviously weather permitting, but when the weather is right, you just can't beat it. So we bring you right out to the middle of Lough Derg, and basically just stop paddling and you just sit back and enjoy. At the end of the trip then we paddle all the way into Killaloo, and in Killaloo then we've got the marinas are all lit up with the marine lights. And as you come into Killaloo, if the pubs are still open, you still hear the crack because the sound travels on the river and you hear the music, and it's for the visitors, it's an amazing experience.
Amazing day, amazing evening.
Yeah.
Right, we'll see if we can make it all the way to Lough Derg. Let's start in the canal.
Great.
Will we?
We will, yeah.
And that's it. A skip, hop and a jump from Shannon Airport to County Clare definitely doesn't disappoint. I hope you've enjoyed our trip as much as I have. I'll see you next time as we continue our journey through Ireland, county by county.
Across these lands are ancient ruins, once built by holy hands. From Scattery to Kirkhamroe, from Killaloo to Quinn, Kilfenor.
Ireland County by County is brought to you in part by Clare County Council. Visit Clare, Ireland's Department of Foreign Affairs, the National Parks and Wildlife Services, Board Bia, the Irish Food Board, the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage.
CIE Tours, sharing the magic of Ireland for nearly 90 years.